Ooh, it's hot in hell, but the devil's cool. Don't keep Satan waiting. Don't keep Satan waiting. So don't just sit there, join the club. Sell your soul to Beelzebub.
Hello everybody, it is I, Count Jackula, your favorite satanic streamer, here yet again for another Titty and Shrimp Thursday. And with me today is Jesse Sharon, friend of the stream, friend of all of us. How are you doing today?
Better now that I'm hanging out with you, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, no. I mean, like, you know, it was such a fucking normal week last week, you know, like it's
really
been,
was.
yeah, nothing really big or important happened, so
And everything.
it's just all, like, man, does nothing ever happen these days?
It's just been such like a boring, slow news week.
I
Where
know.
no big disasters have happened at all. Yeah, it looks like
God.
I don't know, man. I'm trying not to like fall into an endless pit of despair because it's not even productive. But sometimes I'm just like, did you ever see the episode of The Twilight Zone with the little kid who has psychic powers and he can alter reality and he's really mean and scary, and when he doesn't like
sends things to the cornfield.
sends them to the cornfield. At the end of that episode, a man is so fed up and he's like, I'm gonna make him mad, and then someone smash him in the head with a bottle. Anybody do anything, and he's just like yelling and screaming and pissing the kid off, and of course the kid turns him into a jack in the box and sends him to the cornfield, and nobody did jack shit. And I just kind of feel like that guy.
Oh yeah, I feel like that all the time. It's like we need someone I need someone to do something. Someone else has to take initiative. I need somebody to have my back, you know. That's it. As a guy, a famous like underground comics guy from the 60s once told me, hey man, you know, he told me two things. One, how many people does it take to stem the conservative tide? Actually, it turns out about 5 people. You know, like 5 people really going at it, you know, and that's really all you need. It's like you don't need too many people, you know, because most people just, you know, hate that bullshit.
They do.
But it's really, you'd be amazed at how hard those people are to find, because I've known so many people just weren't good for the fight.
Yeah.
Like the minute things got hard, they were nowhere to be found. They completely fucked off because they were like, all of a sudden they were like, oh my God, you mean being a political progressive is not safe? No, it's not. It never has been, you know, like it's always been hard. You've always been painting a target on your back.
Yeah.
You know, it's always been scary.
Yeah.
You know, so just sorry if you thought that this was going to be a breeze, but it wasn't. It wasn't in the 70s. It wasn't in the 80s. It wasn't in the 90s. It is not going to be now.
And it won't be later.
No. It'll always be hard. It'll always be difficult. And I really fucking, I really hate the two sides that I really can't stand right now are both the Democrats are our only hope, and well, why the fuck should we bother voting? I'm like, I hate these two extremes.
It's like, it's not helpful, and it's like, I don't know, man. It's like, it's just also big and messy. Like, it's just,
oh yeah, like, it is nasty.
And it's like, it's all tangled, and but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, well, my big thing is I'm like, well, look, there are a bunch of people out there who are just waiting for me to show the fuck up.
Right.
And that's all they really need, is for me to show up and keep showing up if I am able to do so.
Yeah.
And I'm watching, every time I watch like voter suppression and people like standing in line for hours and shit like that. I'm like, you're telling me that all that effort is pointless.
Right.
Fuck you.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
like those people are trying really hard. Everything is against them.
Yeah, and they're still showing up.
Yeah, and they're still
putting in
fucking
hours.
showing up because that's what you do in a democracy. You show the fuck up and you vote. Like,
you vote.
That's it. You know, it's I think that people get really upset because they feel overwhelmed by the decisions, but I'm always like, no, actually your decisions are actually quite simple. You know, but no one, I've been thinking like maybe I ought to like start breaking this shit, maybe help people break this stuff down. The problem is I'm only really going to be able to do that locally.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're in California, you know, I've got you. You know, but if you're like in Illinois or something, what I have to say is not going to help because I'm going to be talking about the California ballot, and that's going to be all about California and shit that's happening here. And sometimes even here it's a complete shit show. Like the last election, this year's election, man, complete shit show.
Oh no.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad for the city of San Francisco overall, and it was still pretty bad for California. And it was just one of those, why was it that bad? Because nobody showed up.
Oh no.
14% of the electorate voted.
Wow, that's not a lot.
14%. I'm like, that is low for a low turnout.
That's a low F. Like if you had a grade, that's a low.
Yeah, that's an F. That's like you didn't even come to school.
I was gonna say, did you sign your name? Did you misspell your own name?
Yeah,
14%. Like,
yeah, it's usually about 25 to 30%. So I'm like, what happened?
Right.
And I really don't know what happened, and like nobody does. I find myself going like, no, showing up and voting really fucking matters because one, we lost our district attorney.
Yeah.
And I actually really like that guy, but a lot of people were convinced to stay at home, and there was this whole like, well, he's not doing enough for the city of San Francisco, and I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, crime is on the rise. I'm like, yeah, everyone's broke. Everyone's broke. That's why crime is on the rise. You know,
everything expensive, no one getting more money.
Yeah. Everyone's broke, so crime rises. That's the way that fucking works.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a new metric. It's an old metric. Like, Catherine says, Jack, maybe we should take advantage of the fact that there's sluts everywhere and have people explain the ballots of their state. Yeah, maybe we should do that. Yeah. Like, okay, so like, Catherine, I forget, you're in Michigan, or I think it's Michigan, right? Or it's like, I keep thinking that it's like Michigan, Illinois, or Philadelphia where you're at, but like that covers a lot of ground.
I'm in Maryland.
Yeah, I know you're in Maryland. Like, I know people who live in places that I've lived.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you lived in Maryland, didn't you?
Yeah. I lived in the Washington D.C. area.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like you're in Frederick, right?
Yes, like an hour away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And the northern tip of Maryland, right before it becomes Virginia.
Well,
no,
West Virginia and Virginia, and we're on the line. If you keep
Pennsylvania,
going past if you keep going past Frederick, it starts getting real southern. I wouldn't recommend it. Don't go west of Frederick. It gets very a lot of flags with a blue stripe and Trump 2024. And
man, I bet Hagerstown's even worse.
I went to a doctor's office in near Hagerstown, and
Oof.
I was like waiting, and I looked up, and like every single surface was covered in Jesus pictures, and I was like, I gotta find a different doctor. Like
Yeah.
really, really white Jesus too. You know, when he's like paler than me and like lighter hair than me and like wispy beard, and I'm just like, who is this guy? Like, he's not even anyone that
Yeah.
would ever
Well, it's
be
also
Jesus.
it's getting the religious are getting weirder and weirder, and they're
And like
getting
bolder.
loud, way bolder. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I notice, like I mean, Twitter's always a cesspool, but like
Yeah, it's always pretty bad. Yeah.
I've just been noticing like a lot of my friends, especially my fellow queer women and trans women friends, they're like getting an aggressive hate campaign that they like were not getting for the past couple of years. And
Oh
it's like
yeah.
even I've been getting some weird statements. Like somebody, like I posted a picture of myself and they were like, "Oh, so you're not a pedophile?" And I was like, "Why did you say that?" And they're like, "Because you draw books about teenage girls." And I was like,
What?
what the fuck are you talking about? And I was just like, I deleted and blocked them. And I was like, that's not funny. If you're joking, it's not funny. And if you're not joking, don't fucking talk to me.
Yeah, don't talk to me. I had time for this.
But like, a lot of artists, especially queer artists right now, especially queer artists like me who are like making art targeted to young people, are getting
Yeah.
some weird fucking statements. I was really worried about it because the CNU is pretty queer and like the sequel's going to be
Yeah,
more
yeah, yeah.
queer. And I'm just like,
Well,
I'm just like,
it's about gay mermaids.
yeah, it's about gay
You
mermaids
know.
and the goth girls who love them, and like, but it's like, it's a very pure love story, but they don't care. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how like
Yeah,
sweet
yeah.
and
It's like it's like I don't I don't think anything beyond kissing happens in it as far
no,
as what's
yeah.
explicit, you
But
know.
to them, that's like the doorway to, you know, lesbian orgies and like like you kiss your true love, let's go to hell. And it's just like, I mean, I did have a couple haters. I've had people say that my stuff was like lesbian, man hating, satanic trash. And I was like, God, I wish it was. I could have gone way, like, way gayer and more satanic than I like. This is some Disney level, like, made for
Yeah,
TV,
yeah, yeah,
watching
yeah. It's
afternoon shit.
pretty
Like,
with the except with despite the fact that like one character is clearly like kind of a butchy dyke,
yeah,
like on the really soft end of butchy too.
yeah.
You know, it's like that's it. Well,
Yeah, I was
I've
like,
also
what a
noticed,
stretch.
yeah, I've also noticed that the hate campaign against girls heated up, against women
It's
heated the fuck
spicy. It's
up.
going nuts. And like, and the
Yeah,
Rosie
like it was never good,
it
but
was
it
never
but
good, but it's been heated. I've been getting some like gnarly comments. I just like, some once in a while I'll quote tweet and like dunk on them, but like I've just been blocking a bunch of them. There's some nasty stuff, and it's like, it sucks because I have a soft heart and like I like to be open and like kind, and a lot of people just see that as like an opening to hit you. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah,
and it's like, I don't want these assholes who don't even give a shit about me. They're just getting a little dopamine hit from making my life worse. I don't want to even let them take up mental real estate, but it's rough when you have all these followers and then like all of a sudden you're getting like dozens of idiots. And it's like, why are you even talking to me? I don't even know you. We don't have any shared interests. I'm not gonna ruin
yeah.
whatever you're into. Like,
The only good part about it, is that every time you reach like a new level of this stuff,
yeah,
the equilibrium and everything you need to deal with it is just on the other side.
that's true. It does seem
It's
like it's like a bubble and the blister bursts and it's like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's not, and so it's always worth it to deal with it and to figure out how you're going to deal with it and give yourself some time to actually feel like all the fucking emotions.
yeah,
Like, you know, go ahead, feel the sad, feel the panic, feel the anger, you know.
Yeah.
You probably want to do that just with like your friends or by yourself, but
Yeah,
like,
that's, I mean, like,
you
that's
know,
why I have Discord. A lot of times when I'm like, everyone's making me insane on Twitter, I'll go over to Discord and just be like, I have to say what's on my mind so I don't tweet it, so I don't get my account
oh yeah, yeah,
banned.
like some of us,
Yeah. Anyway,
you know, I have, God,
I can't, Jack. I can't.
I've
They're
gotten
all
myself
there.
into. Well, here's the thing. I have been like on the business end of that type of social bullying my
Ugh,
whole life.
it's
Like
exhausting.
it is. It's super fucking
Poor thing.
exhausting. Um, and the thing that you need, and it's hard to come by sometimes. It's tough. It's tough. It's one of those like, oh, you need. This is basically the equivalent of me saying, well, all you need to be able to lift 200 pounds over your head is to work on it every day.
Sure.
You know, like it's one of those things. It's a simple principle, but oh man, it feels like you're never going to get there. And that is this. At some point on the other end of all those feelings is the thing that you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be different, a little bit different for everybody, you know, but it's going to be there is a this is how you cope with it
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and I'm getting better at it all the time. Like, honestly, if I got some of these comments I got a couple of years ago, I'd be like, bleh. But like instead, I'm like,
Yeah. You get tougher all the time. You
get
get tougher all the
tougher, and you're like,
time.
who? They don't even know me. They're like, a lot of times
Yeah,
you realize that
you
they
get more
have a,
social hit points.
yeah,
You should
but
go up in
and you also
level.
realize a lot of times when people are reacting to you, they're reacting to this you they made in their head. So they're really just fighting like a little homunculi of their ideas of you.
Yeah.
They could just leave and they would still have the same argument. Like, it's like they could just, they make a little guy and then they yell at that little guy and they want it to be you.
Yeah.
It's just very surreal.
I just okay. So last Friday, for some reason it was a bad day.
It was, wasn't it?
It was, and so I just was like, nah, I'm out.
Mm.
Like I'm fucking out. You know, I was tweeting, but I was also like, oh god, what's the goddamn point of me even talking
I
to
was
human
tweeting,
beings?
I was crying. Like I was not, I was, my
Oh yeah,
face
me
was
too. Me
wet. I was
too. Yeah,
good, man.
yeah. It was constant panic waves,
And
and
like,
then
and like the takes I was seeing, I was like, shut up, shut up. I just nothing was helping. Like,
yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
curled up in a fucking fetal ball on my
yeah.
couch.
How appropriate.
Yeah, I know, right? And I decided that I was just going to let myself feel every emotion. And if that meant I turn into a quivering wreck for a bit, fine.
Yeah,
Because,
that's good.
like, what if not now, when?
When, like, yeah.
Yeah, if not now, when? This is a big enough deal. And there is this thing that happens when you're a somewhat spiritual person. Um, you have to let it happen, you know, but it's hard to describe. But you have the big enlightenment moment, and then
Mm.
you continue to have these like less dramatic ones that are a little
Sure,
bit
sure,
more
sure, sure.
specific. Um, and I'm not really used to. I've seen a lot of crazy shit. I'm
Mm. You okay?
the fuck. Oh, it's some big noise happening outside, and I'm like, the
Oh,
fuck is that?
you're
Um,
doing this face like on TikTok. I think it was Cardi B. What is that? What is
what's
that? I'm
that?
sorry.
Yeah,
Go on, please.
you know, and I'm not used to seeing the devil.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I'm not used to seeing the Satan, the big goat
Hmm.
headed guy with the horns and all that.
Sure, yeah.
You know, but you know, I'm used to seeing things that are devil adjacent, but not necessarily that image in and of itself. And but this time I did. This time I did, and it was the sensation of like sitting on a hill overlooking hell. You know, there's Gehenna. You know, everything's on fire. You know, it all sucks. You know, there's this huge, you know, goat-headed guy like sitting there. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm just like, what the fuck even? What the fuck even am I supposed to do? And just came back with, well, look, to be real, I'll be straight with you. This is bad. Oh, thank you. You know, oh, thank you. I didn't know that. Hey, not done yet. This is bad. But think, this is bad. This is like apocalypse bad. But I want you to realize something. Given that this has happened, and people made it happen, you know, this wasn't preordained, you know, like it didn't have to go this way.
Sure.
You know, people made it happen. Why are you so worried about whether or not you're evil? And I'm like, huh? It's like you're worried about whether or not you're evil all the time. You're so worried about it, but you would never do anything like this.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, it's not only not
Also,
in your nature, even if it got you something, you wouldn't do it because the price is too much.
It would pain you.
Yeah, like this is all happening because people cannot let go of the future. They cannot let it be what it is going to be. They need it to be something else. The problem is that's not how it works. The future is going to happen the way it's going to happen. It's only how much suffering, unnecessary suffering and death there is while you get there.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only thing that's different. And I was like, okay, Satan, thank you. You know, and then I watched a little later that weekend, I watched Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I haven't checked it out. I do like the actor, the lead guy. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. It's Ian McGregor.
Yes,
yeah,
like
it's a really good show. It's really good. Like, it's one of those things where I found myself going like, man, this is what I wanted the prequels to be.
That's the vibe I got. So I was like, I need to check it out. I gave up on the new movies. I was just like, I watched the first one and it felt kind of empty. And then the second one, I was like, and I didn't even bother with the third.
Oh,
like the originals.
The third one is not that great. Hey, haha, thank you for subscribing.
Yeah.
It could have been okay. It's got a
like
lot.
so much
that third one's
and money, and then I just didn't want to see it.
It's got a lot of problems. Like, actually, the part of the third movie that I hate the most was the knife.
Okay.
There's a point where, like, she has a knife that, like, reveals the location of something, and I'm like,
okay,
what? Where did this come from?
Did you I know you like the Multiverse of Madness. I like lots of it. I just had some like questions about the plot. But somebody was like, I hated the part where he stepped on a thing and it showed everyone a flashback. And I was like, why is there a flashback machine in this year? That's so cheap. I made me really annoyed. I was like, oh, that's convenient. Let me step on the exposition machine. Hey, does anyone need to know the ingredients in this cake? Let me step on the cake machine. It was making me laugh.
Yeah.
But like, that was one of the only moments there you go.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out like the logic of this fucking knife because I'm like, okay, you're telling me that someone made a knife so that if you stand on this specific hill for no fucking reason and hold the knife out like this for no fucking reason, the holes in the handle show you where the fallen throne room of the Death Star is.
That
What?
doesn't even make sense. What if your arm is slightly longer or shorter or
Yeah.
you're turned or anything? What if you're a being that doesn't have arms? There's an alien
Yeah. And I'm finding myself going like, the other thing is this. Why do we need something to tell us where the fucking throne room of the old Death Star is? There's that whole collapsed Death Star that's right over there. We could I don't know, use an old map and just say, oh hey, looks like it's over here, guys.
It's weird. It's too much. You don't need just expend your effort into the good ideas. You don't need to no one cares.
It was pretty, yeah.
Knife of destiny of holding.
Yeah, was it made just for Rey? I don't know. And if so, then who made it? And why?
Yeah. Why before? Why?
Yeah, it's like
glasses.
We could have had she could have been led around by a Force ghost, and that would have at least been that would have made perfect sense.
Or drawn there by the Force, this Force is so stained into this powerful area that you
that's all we needed. Because it's one of those things where it's this knife does nothing except this knife does stupid things, and
it's the knife of dumb. You've heard of the subtle knife. This is the dumb one.
Yeah, it's one of those dude, this was a plot point in the Goonies. And in the Goonies, it was kind of okay because it was pirates and hidden treasure and shit.
Pirates. They have the maps and the puzzles and the hold the thing up and
yeah. It's okay, is it really contrived? Yeah, sure, it's super contrived, but whatever. It's a kid's adventure story involving pirate treasure.
I think I have kind of a theory. I'm not a hardcore Star Wars fan, so I'll probably change the subject in a second. But I have a story writing theory that the first original movies, a lot of why it works is because things are vague and fantastical, and your brain is kind of trusting it in a way.
Yes.
It's someone says the Force is this, and it's basically God and magic and love. You're like, yeah, sure. I don't need to know about midi-chlorians or the way the crystals work inside of this magic sword.
Exactly.
He's a knight. He saves the princess. He's a space pirate. He's a big dog man. I get it. That's a wizard. You know what I get
exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly it. It's just you don't. It doesn't overwhelm you with details on things that you don't need to know too much about.
It was
because what do you need? He's got a special thing. Yeah. And he's got a laser sword, and he's gonna destroy the big bad evil guy, with it.
It's playing, these really classic, Journey of a Thousand Faces archetypes, but it's playing them so beautifully. It's like when you hear a lovely song and it's really simple. Well, the person playing it is playing it so well that it's moving you. So I think that's a lot of magic of the original stories. I mean, also the incredibly strong visual direction and music and sound design, but blah blah blah.
Yeah. Well, the thing. Okay, so this is the plot, Obi-Wan Kenobi in a nutshell. Obi-Wan Kenobi's looking over Luke, and everyone hates Obi-Wan Kenobi. Uncle Owen and Beru are just Kenobi, get the fuck away from us, right. Yeah. Because you being here attracts problems.
Sure.
And, Obi-Wan Kenobi takes that kind of personally. He takes that kind of personal. And, he's trying to be a good, distant uncle figure.
Yeah.
But, everything is just bad. Everything's falling apart. And he doesn't, and so he's sitting there with this crisis of oh, God, the Empire's taken over everything. The Jedi are all dead.
Kind of a vibe,
everything fucking sucked. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it really was. And all of a sudden, Bail Organa, Jimmy Smith,
Okay.
his character, is like, Ben, I need your help.
Always a good call to action. All right.
Yeah, he's like, I need your help. And he's like, I can't leave here. So refusal, like,
Yeah.
I can't leave here. I have to watch the boy. And he's like, my daughter is missing.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum. I need you to go look for her. Because I can't leave the Senate if I because they're using her as leverage to like get some. The Empire's using her as leverage.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And I can't leave.
Right.
Plus, I mean, you're a fucking Jedi, man.
Like, with your magic powers.
Yeah, use your magic powers and find little Leia.
Lightning.
Yeah, go find little Leia and like make sure she's okay. And he's like, so grumpy
that
ass.
Explain why she knows about him in the first movie.
Yes. Yes. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Yeah.
That's
pretty tiny.
And yeah. And so basically, it's a large part of the story is Obi-Wan Kenobi running around with little, like 7-year-old Princess Leia.
Aww.
Trying to get away from Darth Vader.
That's cool.
Who is
Does he know?
No. All he knows is that Ben
That's some soap opera shit. I like it though.
All he knows is that Obi-Wan Kenobi has resurfaced, and he's like, I'm gonna kill him.
Oh, he would hate that guy.
Yeah, it's like
he had all his arms and legs come off and all his skin. And
I'm gonna fucking kill Obi-Wan Kenobi. And it's if you want to just see, this is another one of those like, Darth Vader just shows up and just fucking kills people. Like,
dude, I loved that part in Rogue One.
Rogue One
coming down the hallway. I was like, dude, there's a 2-minute horror movie in this. I was like so stoked. I like felt like so frightened. It was so good.
Yeah, every time Vader shows up, when Vader first shows up in the thing, like that's the feel, that's the vibe. Where it's just sort of like anyone who annoys him, he just kills.
Yeah, you get this like, I've like, come on, you killed children and like you essentially your wife and your friends and like your mentors and everything got fucked up and then you burned your whole body off and now you're in agony all the time.
Your best friend, the person who looked up to you, you didn't kill the person who looked up to you the most, but you definitely betrayed her.
Right. That would be like every tie of morality is severed at that point, which really makes why he turns good at like the last second at the end very moving, because it's like you went so far beyond where most people like go. Like a lot of people when they turn dark, they get into drugs or they become a thief or maybe an assassin or they kill somebody in revenge. He did all the murders and just kept going and then was like, fuck it, my soul is black as hell. I'm not gonna bother even worrying about if someone's annoying, why not kill them at that point? Because who cares? You don't have love. You just if everyone's just a nuisance or helpful. That's the only thing. It would be helpful or you're in the way and you're gonna die.
And fucking it does all culminate with like a real duel between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's badass. Yeah, I think I'll check it out.
Dude, it's really good.
Like it has a lot of the stuff I enjoy about Star Wars, so I'm like, I'll give it a go. So I'm gonna check it out. But darn it, I was gonna tell you something.
Yeah. So, there's a point at the end of the thing after everything has concluded, and we're into the epilogue.
You don't mind spoilers.
Yeah. Well, like, okay, so you know Luke Skywalker lives, so Ben, Luke Skywalker, and Leia all live.
Yeah.
You're just it's all you just want to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah. And it sounds like a lot of like feelings, which not in like a saccharine way, but in a like a very like, here's how you would feel if you were in this situation way, which I think is fun.
Yeah. And one of the Darth Vader's focus really is his hatred of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
but after that's all dealt with, which is awesome, by the way, because it
mm-hmm.
is the exact opposite of the end of Return of the Jedi.
Right.
You know, where Luke is like, I knew there was still good in you. There's, you know, Obi-Wan Kenobi going,
Nothing.
my friend is dead.
Dead.
He's gone.
You're just like a corpse of my friend walking
Yeah.
around.
He is more machine now than man. You know,
Ugh.
it's
Okay, this is slightly tangential, but in the last season of Sailor Moon, I swear this is related. In the last season of Sailor Moon, basically all her friends get kidnapped, and you think
Mhm.
they're like being held hostage, except it turns out no, they've been dead for the past 20 fucking episodes. And she shows up and she's like, "Where are my friends?" And the main bad girl is like, "Oh, I killed all of them like a month ago." And she's like, what do you mean? And then she resurrects her friends' corpses and makes them try to kill her. So Sailor Moon has to re-murder all of her
all
dead
of her
friends.
dead friends. Oh my god.
I was 14. I'm watching it like this. What's happening?
It's
her
fucked
daughter
up.
from the future just fades out of existence because she kills her future husband.
Oh jeez.
Because yeah, it was rough. And of course it all turns out fine at the end because it's Sailor Moon. But like, I'm a 14-year-old girl and I'm watching this and I'm like, what is gonna happen?
Yeah.
The last 2 episodes, they're not gonna come back from it. So, but they did.
Yeah.
They did. It was very anime, bullshit.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
at the time, I was like, this is like, that's why I laughed when Madoka came out, which is very dark magical girl stuff, and everyone was like, it's the dark Sailor Moon, and I was like, did no one see episode 198 through 200 of Sailor Moon? Because that shit was insane. That was really wild. Like,
yeah.
but yeah, it's a lot of like that very painful, like I'm fighting someone who I used to really love. In fact, probably still do love. I don't think always hating someone makes that love go away, which is also very painful, because if you didn't still love them, then the hate wouldn't hurt so bad. You could just be like, I don't give a fuck about you. You're nothing to me. And instead, you still love them. Like, he probably still loves Darth Vader. It's like, you were a little boy. I was like your big brother. Like, you know what I mean? And then like everything went to shit. That would be so agonizing. And you'd be like seeing this person, and if it was me, I would be like rethinking all the moments where I probably fucked up our relationship. I'd be like, I probably shouldn't have said that. I probably should have said this. I probably should have done that when he needed me. I wasn't there. It's my fault. I would be like,
that's
it's my fault.
absolutely what Obi-Wan Kenobi is doing the entire show.
Entire time. And it's like, not only are you miserable, not only did you lose everything that ever mattered to you, you're also certain it's your fault, which is like being in hell, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. And they do some really cool stuff with that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ruin like the big
I'll definitely watch it. I'm gonna watch it.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the epilogue, Ben is just sort of like, you know what? Owen, he goes back to the Skywalker Ranch and is like, you know what, Owen, I think you've been right. I think I'm gonna fuck off.
Yeah, like I don't want to cause more monsters.
Yeah, I don't need to be causing more problems. And for that matter, all that really matters is that this kid's got a family, and that's you.
Right. Oh no.
Oh
no. He turns into jerky.
Oh yeah, but that's not for like another 10 years,
That's so rough. It's fine. You'll have a family, and you'll always have a family. See you later.
Yeah, and they make a lot of allusions to a lot of things that happen, like, that's your uncle talking.
Yeah.
Because like Ben Kenobi's talking like he knows Owen, because you find out, he did.
Yeah.
He did actually know him. But he's like, look, take care of the boy. That's all we need to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
The future will take care of itself. And I found myself going like, yeah, that's really it, isn't it? That's really like the will of the Force kind of stuff, which is, no, don't worry about don't worry about the future. It'll happen. You know, it will happen. The more you try to control it, the worse things get.
Yeah.
So why do it?
Yeah. I mean, even Professor X is always learning that lesson in like the X-Men, right? Because he's like,
yeah,
you know, Jean Grey is having this problem. He's like, I know, I'll just compact it into her brain, and then we'll just deal with that forever. And it's like, how's that working out, Charles?
Hang on a minute.
Sure.
Hang on just 1 minute. Okay, I'll let it cool. But yeah. That's definitely like Professor X's problem. Oh my God, I have to fix it. No, I don't. You know, but, like, are you trying to help somebody, or are you trying to fix it?
Are you trying to fix it? Are you trying to help? Or are you trying to fix it? Are you trying to fix it forever? I mean, that was like one of the reasons I really liked the Days of Future Past and like the prequel energy, because I liked when, I mean, obviously, I guess he doesn't learn anything because it's Charles Xavier, but I liked the part in one of the movies where he was like, I gotta trust Mystique. I keep trying to make her do stuff. Why don't I just see what she does? She's a person. And then she does the right thing. And it's like,
that would be
Charles.
That'd be first class, I think. That happens in first class.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's a big, it's a huge deal. And I just constantly find myself going like, sometimes you gotta trust somebody. You gotta just trust that the future will take care of itself, even when it fucks you.
True.
You know, because sometimes it'll fuck you. But but there is this. Yeah, this is where I get like, philosophical and weird.
Sure.
You know, I feel like there really is like. There is a rough path that we are on.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that really, really control that destiny are beyond us.
Okay.
They're beyond our individual influence. You know, and I really, like, for example, I think it was inevitable that humanity would try to create something like civilization.
Sure.
I think that was just inevitable. But
so social. You just really want to clump.
To get people into a really large social group and get them moving towards some ideal. That was gonna happen. But we've got like these two competing ways of dealing with it. One is to try to rigidly control it, which seems to create ungodly amount of suffering.
Yeah.
You know, and the other is just to go, well, maybe nature takes care of itself.
Yeah.
And the truth is, nature does kind of take care of itself. Like, we can influence it, but we can't control it.
Yeah.
You know, it's why things like, abortion, getting rid of it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because it's already there.
I really hate the whole thing. It's just okay, so like so many pro-life anti-abortion people are genuinely nasty, evil bastards. They just want to control people with vaginas and the people they perceive to be women and fuck our lives up because we deserve it because we ate the apple or some shit. But there is a sincere group of people who are convinced it's murder and they feel so upset about it. And they're not bad. I don't think of them as bad. They're scared that it's a moral situation that they're failing at. And they're like, what if
because someone has told them it is.
Exactly. And I don't know how to reach their heart, because to me, those people are trying to do something they think is good. And that's different than just trying to control people, because when people are, I guess it doesn't even matter because they're doing the same thing. They're ruining other people's lives and they're going to get people killed.
Yeah.
But part of me gets all clenched up about it because I'm like, I can see your heart and I can see that you genuinely think people are in danger and you think, oh no, we have to help. And I don't know how to.
It's hard. It's hard because this is, how to put it, the only way you can really explain it to people is not a satisfying sounding answer.
Yeah.
But it is the truth. And but allow me to use nerd terminology.
Go for it. We're all nerds here.
You must know the will of the Force.
Okay.
You have to know the will of the Force. You have to you will know the will of the Force when your mind is at peace.
Sure.
When you are receptive, somewhat passive.
Yeah.
And you can just be with it. And the thing about abortion is this. It solves a lot of problems. If and only if every individual woman makes that individual choice.
Right.
And that's it. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's everything. Like, you want to abort, people are like, oh my God, how do we keep the population down? You let women have abortions if they don't feel like they can. Yeah, you don't make them have them. You just let them have them.
Yeah. I was trying to think. I don't know.
We're worried about the economics of the future. Abortions. Just let them do it, because here's the thing.
There's a whole freakonomics thing about abortions. And
yeah. And his conclusion was that the best way forward is to just let every individual woman make the choice for herself, because they know better than anybody else whether or not they are in a position to raise a child.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the end of the story. That's the end of everything. Yeah. That's the whole deal. And to me, even getting tripped up on talking about the morality is missing the greater point.
I do see what you're saying. I guess it was not like, it's not like I agree with them. It's like I feel this like snag, and I'm like, what is it? How do I get you unsnagged? Because I can see you have a good heart, and I'm trying to tell you that the good-hearted thing to do is let this happen. So how do I unhook you from this hook and get you in the right spot?
Well,
you know what I mean?
As I like to remind people, remember what they say about good intentions.
Yeah.
And the people who are really, really, distressed because, like, oh, babies are dying.
Yeah.
Well, that's the good intention leading, that's the good intention on the road to hell. And they don't realize it because they don't.
They're not thinking big.
They're
just
not,
like lost on this idea.
They're not thinking big, and they're not thinking that other people can be trusted in large amounts when it comes to something like this. But the reality is they kind of can. Right.
I mean, a lot of it is because, it's because we're women, and a lot of people just don't think we can be trusted. Like, I'm not saying all of the people who need abortions are women. I'm just saying, like, a lot of the people who perceive us as that are saying, like, you can't be trusted. You're just not smart enough to be trusted with this decision. Even though it's your body, it's just not up to you. And it's like,
yeah, they don't actually believe that, because the reality is that's abuser language.
Yeah.
Because the reality is that they don't believe that's true. They want to steal the control.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's the means of production, right? So,
seizing the means of reproduction. The problem is that it's a fool's errand.
Yeah.
That I don't know how to say it. It's like, no,
it's like
dude,
prohibition.
it's a fool's errand.
Prohibition happened. They were like, we'll get rid of all the alcohol. No one will be alcoholics. And it's like,
Wrong.
Wrong. And it invented the mafia, but also NASCAR. So, did you know that, chat?
Yeah.
NASCAR happened because of Prohibition, because the bootleggers, the rum runners, they kept making their cars faster and faster to outrun the cops. And then Prohibition ended, and they were like, "Shit, I really like driving these fast cars," and so they invented NASCAR.
Yep, they were trying to figure out what were the best getaway cars.
And that's why we should all just mess with the cops, because eventually it leads to innovation.
Oh yeah, it's interesting.
I'm thinking, like, I was raised, I don't know if you were raised conservative. I think you mentioned
I was raised in a very strange manner, but like,
okay.
I attended a conservative Christian school for the first 4 years, and then a Catholic school for the next 4.
That explains why your show's fun.
Oh boy!
Everybody I know who grew up Catholic is fun as an adult in specific ways.
I still remember the moment where I was like, wait a minute, this is dumb.
Yeah. I had a couple of those moments.
Well, for me, this is my, like, leaving the faith and just being like, nah, I'm just leaving this shit behind me. Like, fuck this.
Sure.
It started when I realized that there was nothing more than I wanted than to have sex with this girl that I had a crush on in middle school.
Oh.
It was the thing I wanted. And the only thing that I could do about it was pray about it. But I didn't want to, because you don't. I'm like, I don't think I'm supposed to pray to Jesus for this kind of thing. I don't think, like, this is, like, something he handles.
Right.
And it's sort of like, oh my God, well, that's the devil's stuff. And I'm like, no, because there was a world before marriage, right?
Right.
Like, there had to be.
Right.
And it just started leading me down this road where I was like, you know what, fuck this. If I'm gonna leave the faith over sex, so be it. I actually hate all these people anyway. Just fucking loathe them.
Well, what I was saying was, I was raised Protestant, like Southern Baptist Christian, and I had a lot of, like, breaking point moments. But, like, specifically in regards to abortion, I was raised being told, this is murder and it really hurts the baby, and the baby tries to get away and all this stuff. And, like, it turns out not to be true. They give you a shot that makes the thing's heart stop. It's not wiggling. What the fuck? Anyway, sorry. It was like weird lies. Like,
yeah.
Like, I'm always like, if you need to convince me of your point, you don't need to lie to me. If it's true, just tell me the truth and I'll get there myself. And there was a couple things I would notice. And I was always like a little bit of I was very, very Christian, but I would ask questions all the time because people would say things, and I deeply hated unfairness and cruelty. And I always have. It always has burned me the most. It, like, gives me, like, literal bad stomach aches, which is part of the reason I was in a lot of pain, I think, for the past couple of days.
For me, it's just like red hot anger.
Yeah, I was like, I have, like, really chronic stomach problems, and I have no gallbladder, and it seems when I get upset, my body just dumps every acid it has into my organs, and I have micro tears on my organs, so it hurts everywhere. But anyway, yeah, it's not great. That's why a lot of times when I'm like, I'm having a pain day, I mean, like, I can't get out of bed, I'm having a pain day. But anyway, so I was raised this, like, really conservative way, and I hated it when people would say things that were unfair. And there was so many things in my church that always struck me as unfair. And like, one of the ones was, I noticed the people who were the most angry about abortion were all the men in my church.
Yep.
And I just noticed it. I didn't say anything. I was like 13, and I'm like, the only people I see getting furious about abortion are these male leaders. And like they would get tears in their eyes and they would like sweat and like they were like
Yeah.
getting worked up, like in a high kind of way, you know what I mean? And like they'd be like, if I had my chance to stop those women, I'd, and they'd stop themselves. And I was like, you'd what?
You'd what? Yeah.
You'd what? And like, and I was just like, that's weird. They're always so angry at women. And that made my tummy hurt. Like, even as a kid, I was like, before I had chronic stomach pain, I was like, I didn't know how to articulate it because I was like, if it's murder, why is it whenever you bring it up, I feel sick and I don't want you to talk about it? Because normally if it's injustice, I'm getting upset on behalf of the victim. But when you talk, I'm getting upset on behalf of the women. Why is that? And that would hurt my stomach and like upset me. And the other thing was, I really liked science and I like would read books a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I found out that like half of pregnancies miscarry on their own. And I'm not trying to diminish the pain of people who've miscarried, but I was saying, why would God make half of pregnancies just not take and then get so angry at you for doing it yourself? And I was like, it didn't feel right. But like, and so that always bothered me. And so those were like little niggling doubts. And I was like, it struck me as weird. And one of the things that like finally completely pushed me like 100% for choice was I was watching this documentary on late term abortions. And I thought, oh, I was scared to watch it because I was like already on the road to being pro-choice. I didn't want to lose that road. I was scared that I'd watch this documentary about late term abortion, which was always the big boogeyman in my church. And I no, I changed my mind again. But
right.
Instead I was watching and like it was this older female doctor and she was just like, she's going case after case and explaining and showing like the heartache of these parents and like how they're saving lives. And at the very, very end, she just said, I've done this for like 40 years. And all I know is that you can trust women. And that made my mind like explode. I was like, speaking of spiritual, I don't tend to get very like spiritual moving feelings anymore as an adult as much. Because frankly, when I had those feelings growing up, I'm pretty sure it was some brainwashing. But when I was watching this documentary, I felt like this swell of emotion that was like, she's doing God's work. I don't know how to explain that, but I was like, whatever goodness is, she's helping. And I was like, how could I say that this person doing the most evil abortions is on the side of essentially heaven and then think that women are bad? I can't. So I was like,
yeah, exactly.
It just kind of dumped the whole like doubt out. You know what I mean? So good documentary. But that's what I mean. So I'm like, that's why when I get sad about people who are like, babies, murder, I'm like, I see your heart and I know it's the compassion in you that's getting hung up. But the compassion led me to being pro-choice. So I'm like, that's why I'm always like, I feel like you'll get there. That's how I always feel about it. Does that make sense? I'm like,
yeah.
You want to be good so badly will get you there. I believe it in my heart because like you can't search your soul all the time so deeply and feel like that and not come to some, I don't know, man. I hope so. Anyway, I want to believe in
there are a lot of the thing is that there are a lot of fuckers out there.
Yeah.
And the women's contribution to the continuing life cycle is something that a lot of men are very envious of.
Like you hear all the time about penis envy, but I'm like, there's some womb envy. Oh man.
Oh yeah. There absolutely is.
I'm sorry. I just happened to have one. I didn't pick it. Like I don't...
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not being greedy. It's just an organ.
Yeah, but people twist themselves up in these weird ways because I don't know how. I believed whenever I really wanted something and I was like, yeah, I really want this. I always believed in clearing the path as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because chances are I was going to be my own worst enemy to getting what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was going to be the biggest obstacle. And so just, you know, try to sweep it clear. So when I made the decision that, no, I want to have a lot of sex, I just let everything move in the most, what I consider to be the most ethical way possible while doing that.
Sure.
That's not what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, well, if a dummy like me could fucking figure this out, clearly. Other people have. Yeah, no, not so much.
Yeah.
Not so
People
much.
get mad, and people get so mad if you find your own path and like move away from whatever they think is good. They like think
Yeah.
you're backsliding and all this stuff, and it's like, what if I'm not? What if I just found another good path? Like, it's like, I don't know, man. It's what a mess. What a
Well,
mess.
it's that thing of like, here's what I love to ask. What are you even afraid of?
True.
You know, like, what are you even afraid of? And what they're afraid of every time is that their world is going to completely fucking collapse.
I don't know, man. They're kind of added into that at the moment.
Well, yeah, no,
Let
totally.
me set the air on fire. Oh no, Native American rights for you. Like, what is
Yeah,
that?
yeah. But you know, but if I'm,
But yes, I get I pick up what you're laying down.
yeah, they're afraid that, you know, the apocalypse will come, and all I have to say to that is the apocalypse will come in due time.
It's gonna come when it comes.
It
Jesus
will
says it in
come
the
when it
Bible.
comes. Yeah,
Jesus
it
says
will
it in the
come when it
Bible. Jesus said,
comes.
you won't know when it's gonna come. When you think it's coming, it's not gonna come. It's
Yeah.
like the moments you expect it to come, it won't be there. Like,
You
that's why I
know,
always laughed when people were like, it must be the end of days. Look at the signs. I'm like, the signs that Jesus said you wouldn't know.
yeah, yeah.
The signs he
You know,
specifically
what
said
are,
you wouldn't see. Like,
well, it's like, it's also this where I'm just sort of like, okay, there's a part of me that goes like, no, actually, I think you Christians are right about your apocalypse, your Armageddon. I think you are right. This is the cataclysm for you. You know, the whore of Babylon will ride the seven-headed beast, and
sure.
like the sky will split like a sheet, and the seven veils will fucking crumble, and
Wormwood crashes.
wormwood will, yeah, all that jazz. You're absolutely right. That's totally gonna fucking happen for you. But really just you.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else has got another thing going on. There's another thing going on with everybody else, you know, and they all got their own little individual Armageddons that they all have to deal with. You know, you're just worried about the end of you're worried about the end of your culture.
Yeah.
And the thing I think is so retarded about that and stupid is that a culture doesn't die until the last person who practices it is gone.
Also, hardly any cultures die. They usually
They
change.
usually just change.
It's like saying that the seed is dead because it busted open and turned it into a tree. Like, it's not. Yeah, it had to come out.
Yes. You know, it's like sometimes the seed breaks open so that it can germinate. Sometimes there's a blight and the whole forest dies. Sometimes the egg cracks. You know, like all sorts of things change always.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. So what is it you're really worried about?
Yeah.
And it always comes down to an unanswerable question.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of Christians, they really do worry about, you know, the hereafter.
Yeah.
Am I really saved?
Yeah.
And I'm always like, yeah, that's a really good question because, like, no one can answer it. And so all you can do is worry and then reappeal to the authority figure for
Reassurance,
for reassurance. And that works out for them.
Yeah.
You
Have
know?
you ever had the thought? I've had this thought recently though, that worry is like an evil form of faith. Because instead of believing things will turn out well and this, being is watching out for you, or believing in your friends, let's say I have faith in my friends, they'll be there for me and they won't call me a bitch, whatever. But
Right.
if I'm worried, like my friends don't really like me, oh, they're gonna hate me, I'm not having faith in them, I'm worrying. And that's like the inversion of faith. So sometimes when I'm like with these Christians, when they get so like twisted up in themselves, I'm like, do you not believe that Jesus is gonna handle anything?
Yeah, do you not believe
Do
do
you
you
not
not believe that your
believe
God
like,
has this handled? Like,
like
why wouldn't I thought he was all powerful? What's going
yeah,
on?
I had this Christian like talking to me on Twitter once, and they were like, you should be afraid of demons. And I was like, I'm not afraid of demons. And they're like, why? And I was like, well, I didn't say, well, I don't believe in them, but or, like
Right.
if they exist, they're not whatever you think they
Yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. They're not
uh
real in the way that you're implying
right.
that they are,
But
sir.
like I tried to frame it like that. I'm like, if you read the Bible, God made everything, and then this devil shows up, right? And then like, why would I be afraid of the devil versus the guy who can conjure reality out of nothing?
Nothing.
Like,
Yeah.
they'd be like worrying I'm gonna get killed by an ant. I don't like, why? Like,
Well,
is he gonna abandon me? Is he gonna just huck me into hell? Why would he do that? Is he worth worshiping if he just wants to chuck me into a hole? I don't like, it's too silly. It was like, I'm not saying what you believe in is silly, in your hopes are silly. I'm saying worrying about a boogeyman
man.
who's gonna drag me to hell when an all-powerful being could stop him at any moment is goofy
Yeah,
to me.
yeah. Work, do
Nonsense.
something more useful and find out how wicked people actually operate and how they
Yeah.
actually do things.
Like whenever people are like spending all this time about this shit, I'm like, aren't there pedophiles and rapists and like
Hmm.
torturers that you could be expending all this passionate energy on? There's like children starving and in camps, and there's old people who are lonely. There's so much good stuff you could be doing instead of yelling at a gay person. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but that's all they got.
it's,
Because they got nothing else,
but that's the
A
thing.
soul this deep in the shitter got nowhere to go but God.
It's just so frustrating because they don't have nothing else. They just believe they have nothing else.
Yeah,
Everyone has the capacity to do godly work if that's what you care about. Like,
yeah.
I'm, I'm really sick and I'm in pain. I can't go to DCM protest. I just can't. I'll have to go to the hospital. What good is that? And I was getting really frustrated about it. And then my friend sent me a message and she's like, do you want to make a painting? We can auction it for this charity for pro choice. And I was like, yeah, please. And I'm doing that painting and I'm like, oh, I found something I could do. I wasn't as powerless as I felt. And I was like, okay, sure. So I don't know what my
Oh
point was.
man, Super Anime Girl is bringing up the church scene in Castlevania. Oh yeah, that's so good. Like having having the demons go like, you're right, there is a god. He hates you, by the
He
way.
hates you, by the way.
Your work
Funny shit.
makes him puke. This is not a house of God. It is an empty box. Like that. I mean, yeah.
I mean, I was feeling some Hellraiser 3 vibes with this week where like Pinhead just shows up in that Catholic church and like fucks that priest up. And he just goes,
yeah.
do I look like someone who cares what God thinks? I can't do him, but and I was just like, first of all, I was like, that's very sexy. And second of all, what a vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I just wanted to turn into him this week and just Hellraiser certain people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
totally. Because
you want to say Jesus wept? There we go.
Well, it's weird. It's like, and this is the way I like it. It's like It's like they're all pussies. They worship a god of suffering, yet they don't want to do it themselves.
Right. I'm like,
so it's like, No, like they could barely be inconvenienced.
Yeah.
Like that's what I find
They
so
fall
crazy.
apart with 1% of the pain they've caused other people. They
Hmm.
would have meltdowns. They would die. And it's
Oh,
like just 1 ounce of the agony you've given other people would destroy you. And it makes me so mad.
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
it's frustrating. And I think ultimately they know that they are deficient in the eyes of their own God.
yeah, I'm like, do you
Because
think when you get in front of God, he's going to be happy with you? I don't think
I
so.
don't think so. Yeah.
I've read the Bible 3 times and you're not looking good from what I've read. Like, it's
Yeah.
not good. We're way better standing. Like,
Well,
if
like
the Christian God
what
is real, we are doing better
what
than them.
is the point? What's the point of this religion if it doesn't alleviate suffering?
Yeah, that's
You
you.
know,
Yeah,
it's kind of the thing it's supposed to do,
right. I mean,
you
the
know.
whole like my only like verse I still really like in the Bible is God is love. I always took that literally.
Mhm.
So that like what that's what I thought when you really love someone, they're like divine to you because you're literally seeing their divinity when
Yeah.
you love them.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, if you're not acting in a loving way, you literally can't be doing his work. So I'm getting to Christian Bible-y.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I understand. Like,
Yeah,
it's we say God is love, but
right.
we should probably start thinking about it the other way. Like,
Yeah,
love is
love is
God.
God. And that's usually
You
what I
know.
mean when I say I'm praying to somebody. I'm like
Yeah.
praying to love. And like,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah. Oh, I was gonna tell you, I did have a spiritual vision the other night while I was having my psychonaut trip of doom.
Hmm.
And I don't normally get this. This is the only time I've ever had a heady time. So I was like, cool. But I was having a really hard time because my thoughts were switching really fast. Every thought I had was hyper clear and sharp and bright, but I couldn't hold on to anything in my head for more than like half a second. It was like if you had the best TV ever and someone was changing the channels without you having any input on
Yep.
it. And I heard like a feminine voice, and it was sounded like it was coming through static. And I knew who it was at the moment of drugs, and I was like, that's the God I always pray to. That's my God. That's the moon goddess. Because like usually when I
Mm-hmm.
pray, I'm talking to like kind of a moon Athena Diana kind of like, sorry, not Athena, Diana Artemis kind of like vibe. And I've always loved the moon. And in this vision, it wasn't, this is gonna sound dumb. She's not the goddess of the literal moon. She is the goddess of the idea of the
The
moon.
moon. Yeah. 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 No, I
And I
I hear
knew in
you.
my moment that she was behind the moon being the idea of her. And so anyway, so I'm hearing this like like very beautiful woman talking, and I'm like, that's my God. And I heard her saying, she's taken the mushrooms. This always happens. Whenever someone is high enough to talk to me, they're too silly to get any message. Well, hello, are you listening? Tell everyone I love them. She's gone. And that was the only thing I heard. And I was like, wait, all right. So anyway, she loves everyone. She wanted you to know.
Yeah.
But I'm laughing. I was like, when I was sober, I was like, I had an almost missed call from a goddess. And I was like, could they're too high.
They're just too high. You know, like why does this always happen?
That's what she said. She said it happens every time. And that was making me like laugh so hard when I was high. I was like, oh, every time? That's rough. I was like, but that was fun. That was one of the more like positive spiritual experiences I've had recently. And then I just was riding the roller coaster for a couple hours. So
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I always find it in ecstatic moments of ecstasy.
mm,
And for there is this quote by Albert Camus that I've I've actually got it like plastered up on my desk. And it says always go too far because that's where the truth lives.
that's very
Um,
thing. I've really been literally saying that over and over again with my horror art lately. I'm like, I'm not pushing myself far enough, but I can feel the direction I'm supposed to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So
Like you there's a bunch of stuff that you know, but this is all heading somewhere.
somewhere
This is
that's
heading
like
towards revelation. This
right.
is that's actually it. The horror genre is um very, very, very good at getting into that space.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
like A
not
Dark
the
Song was
yeah.
like literally that vibe, and I was like,
Oh yeah. Oh God, I love that movie. I love
I
the
love the
end.
ending so much.
Yeah, you're just like, oh
I wasn't
damn,
sure, and
so
then it got to the
good.
very end, and I was like, I love you, movie.
Yeah,
Because for a while I was like,
yeah,
is this gonna be anything? Because there's just birds slamming against windows, and then like stuff really started happening, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh.
yeah. So by the time that angel shows up, you're like, oh my God, he's there.
Literally, I was like, what? I was not expecting that.
I
was like, there's
know.
not a big, I don't know, snake. It's gonna eat her head, and then it's an angel, and you're like, what's she
Yeah.
gonna say?
What is
Yes,
she gonna
please
say?
forget that.
You know?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
does something good, and you're like,
Yeah. It's because like it yeah, I don't know how to say it. It was like no. The path to that was actually a huge amount of suffering. You know, it was hard because
yeah,
she has to let go of everything.
yeah,
You know, but it's that beautiful thing where it's like the minute you let go, you realize how easy it was the entire time.
yeah. But
You
that was
know,
another thing I was thinking of on mushrooms. I was thinking about like every time I have had to do a scary change, I was so worried right before it happened, and every time I handled it, every single time, and things usually turned out better because I did whatever I was resisting. And I'm
hmm
like, why can't I just remember that before? Why can't I just?
because if it wasn't that scary,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be that tremendous.
Yeah. True.
You
True.
know, like it's one of those things where the hero's journey. Why is the refusal of the journey uh so important?
Mhm.
Because you have to understand this could go wrong.
Yeah.
This could go bad. Like
Yeah.
bad things could happen. You know, if you succeed, it could be really good.
Yeah.
But
That
you
risk
know,
of pain.
there's
So
that, but there is that guy over there who doesn't look that pleasant, who's got the
yeah.
big sword, who looks like he's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
You know, like, and if you're that doesn't make you like back
Yeah.
up, you're either already a holy man,
Hmm. Or you're crazy.
or you're crazy, or you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You know, like, and sometimes those help. Sometimes being
Yeah.
crazy and an idiot helps.
Yeah.
But you know, if you don't have that, whoa, wait a minute, then that's not the quest. That's not
Right.
the big one.
Yeah.
You know, crossing the threshold is always a radical shift.
Yeah.
You know, you don't, you know, you you can't go back to fucking helping Uncle Owen pick up some new power converters.
No, that's not your destiny.
Yeah, that's not how that goes. But like one of the other things, something me and my brother say a lot is everybody.
Hello.
Hello, hi, cat.
I was like, the door's awfully skinny. It's gonna be a critter.
Yep, is everybody dreams about going beyond the rim.
Right.
You know, into the wild lands. But everyone is afraid of the people that come back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and or God, I remember we were at a PAX when we were talking about this, and it really just came down to even in a place like PAX, where it's like it's all about video games and entertainment and like all this, all this stuff.
Yeah.
There's so few people who really wanted to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Not the convention, but the actual like, magic and art of games and storytelling.
Yeah.
Because it's absolutely terrifying at every fucking moment. You never feel like you know what you're doing because you are always doing something that hasn't been done before.
Literally.
Literally.
Making the other happy place. I am trying so hard not to copy anything else, and I'm trying to really like drive myself creatively. I'm trying to drive myself creatively. Beyond what I'm comfortable with. And I'm just like, it's very exciting and it's like pure art energy, but I'm also like, what the fuck am I doing? I don't know where this card goes. I've only made children's work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, for a long time, I didn't try making horror art because I was convinced I'd be bad at it. And I was like, I won't do it. It'll be dumb. It'll be all wimpy because all I do is kids' stories and teen stories. It's going to be all saccharine and no one will like it. And I was like, well, why don't I make it? Because I want to see it. And I was like, I'll have fun.
Yeah.
And then people really responded to it. And I was like, if I had just stuck with feeling like stick with what you're good at, I wouldn't have found this whole new thing I'm good at.
Exactly.
And so anyway, I get it. Like I was disagreeing. So
yeah, no. And at some point you're gonna do the picture.
Yeah.
You're gonna do the thing, the image.
Yeah.
The page, the whatever that you're like, there it is, right there.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah. And I can see as I'm making more art and coming up with more concepts, I can feel this thing building and it feels like electric under my hands. So
yeah. That's how you know. That's how you know it's working.
It's not there yet, but it's gonna become something. So I'm just like trying to force my way through the dark path of what the fuck am I doing? But
yeah. Don't.
That's what I was gonna say. So there's some elements in the story that I know for sure I want to do. I don't know if you saw recently, but I started doing some semi-pornographic art.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's male, but I'm gonna do some more other characters that are girls too. But and a non-binary character. But anyway,
is it guy on guy or is it just like
right now it's just a naked dude and like him tied up to a wall, smiling and waving at the camera. And but I was like, there's elements in the story that I want to have in there, like I want torture and I want like severe psychological damage and I want like sexuality and dark sexuality and like loving this person who's definitely a monster and actually turns out he might love you too, but he's definitely an evil fuck. And it's like and I was like, it's so messy and dirty. I know that people will read it and go ew, and they won't, and they'll like react in a way that's like, this isn't moral, because I want a lot of the characters to act in ways I don't morally approve of, even if I like the character.
Beauty and the Beast. I'm sorry. Look, that's the thing about Beauty and the Beast. The Beast is actually fucking dangerous.
Yeah, and like it doesn't work if he's not actually dangerous. I mean, that's part of the reason some of the Beauty and the Beast stories have flopped like hell, is because they made him just a guy with squiggles on his face or whatever, and it's like,
yeah, and you're like, no. Like my favorite interpretation of Beauty and the Beast is got to be fucking, oh fuck, what was the name of that director? French guy.
Oh, Jean Cocteau.
Jean Cocteau. Jean Cocteau. It's my favorite version.
I love that one. It's really hot too. It's actually pretty sexual for having no sex in it. Like there's a part where he's drinking from water and she's like, let me drink, you can drink out of my hand, and he like licks the water out of her hand.
Yeah.
I was like, this is very sexy for a 1930s fantasy film. Like I was like, okay, movie. But
but the thing I really like about it is that it It's one of the versions of Beauty and the Beast that goes both ways, because by the end of it, she has to fucking kill her old family
Yeah.
because they are going to fucking steal the castle and its treasures that are rightfully hers.
Yeah.
And motherfuckers gotta go, because that's the legacy. There's going to be a child.
Yeah.
You know, we can't have them doing this to our child when that happens. So let's fucking get rid of these people. All I wanted to do is say goodbye to my dad, and my rest of my family had to come and try to fuck it up.
Sure.
Well, now they're gonna die.
Now they're gonna die.
Yeah, and I love it because it's a meditation on that movie is a meditation on marriage.
Oh yeah, it is. It works really good. You're making me want to rewatch it. Oh, that was what I was saying. Anyway, so I'm having all these like darker and like more upsetting and amoral or gray morality elements in the story that I want to do, and I was getting all worried about it. Like I didn't want people, especially if you're a girl creator, I don't know why, or a queer creator. There's this huge thing where people assume if you have your characters do something, it means you approve of it. If you don't literally have someone turning to camera and being like, by the way, this is abusive, and if anyone is abusing you, call 1-800 don't do that. And it's like, and if you don't do that, people assume you're on the side of this amoral person. And it's like, this is an impossible way to make art. You cannot make art in a way where you have to react to every bad faith actor. But anyway, I was getting all worked up in my head about it, and I talked to a very trippy witchy artist girl on my horror account named June Strings, and she's really cool. And I was DMing her because she's all about she's very like chaos magic-y transformation of self, and like it's really cool stuff. I really love just talking to her because she has a really cool brain. But anyway, I was like, June, I want to put these elements in my story, and I'm so scared people are going to be mean to me and judge me, and I want to do it anyway, but it's like, I'm hung up on it. And she said, if you don't do what your heart burns for because you're scared, you will replace all of that passion with resentment. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want this burning, wonderful feeling I'm having while I'm making this story to turn into resentment. And I was like, I'd rather people hate me and think I'm an amoral whatever and make a story I really love than be full of resentment and make a hobbled version of my story.
The worst thing you could do is make a mediocre version.
Yeah, and I was
it's
why I don't want to make, like I was saying, like when I was watching Multiverse of Madness, I was like, every time it's going crazy, I'm there. I was like, when he had the demon coat and he's a dead guy and eyeballs and she's going crazy.
Right.
I was like so on fire for it. And when it was doing other stuff, I was like, I realized all I wanted the whole time was the whole movie to be popping off. And I was like, why would I make a stunted, unpopped off version of my own story?
Exactly. Like, there's no point in doing that,
And you know what? You're not even gonna please these people who are gonna like get mad at you for they're gonna get mad at you anyway because you're not doing whatever story they think you should be doing. So I said that to somebody online today. They were like, there's this Baymax episode of this Disney show, and he's talking about menstruation, and it's really cute. It's so cute. It was the most clean, cute thing I've ever seen.
Oh my god, I keep hearing about this.
I'll have to send you the clip. It's adorable. Baymax is
no, but I mean, like, I keep hearing about this menstruation joke.
Yeah, and
and
anyway,
really, what it is a tampon joke.
Yeah, it's nothing anyway. But my point was, some people that were responding to it were like, what'll kids say to their parents? And somebody was like, well, they'll probably ask their parents what periods are, duh. And then somebody else was like, well, what if their parents get really mad at them and then hit the kid and ground them for asking about sexual things? And I was like, are you gonna make every piece of art lightning might strike the building and explode your head, and the elephant might come and stomp on your car? Like, I can't live my life.
You can't live like that. That's ridiculous,
because there's a theoretical asshole. I'm like, why am I letting theoretical assholes run my life? There's already actual assholes trying to run my life.
Yeah. We don't need to make up theoretical ones. We got real shit we can deal with.
Right.
And
So
I absolutely hear you on that,
yeah.
because I had to do the same thing with what I'm working
Right.
on, with Babylon Unleashed, because there had to be a point at which it was like, you know what? I just go for the jugular. Just do the thing. It's the game is just gonna be weird.
Yeah. And
And
people like weird. They don't want another Pathfinder or another D&D. They already have
they already
Pathfinder.
got that. Yeah, they got that.
If it's me and I'm a customer and I'm like, I really just wish there was something fucked up and sexy and weird, and then I see your thing, I'll be like, oh, good, something fucked up and sexy and weird.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. So yeah.
Because because like at the end, it's taking all the things that should be bad,
Mhm.
all the things that should be bad, removing the easiest aspects of good and evil, just like removing it,
Right.
and talking about, well, what would this life really be like? Like what would this life really be like? There's it's a reflection of like a place that exists in my head,
Right.
which is this weird underground city
Yeah.
that just kind of exists in my mind, and I wanted to express it. And part of that is going, well, let's take things that you don't normally focus on and make that the protagonist.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as like, okay, you're just a vampire. The vampires are the good guys. It's like,
Yeah.
no,
You're
no,
not
no.
just doing a palette swap. You're like actually trying to build what this world would be like and how
Yeah,
it would
yeah.
work.
We're
What makes it
basically,
fun
you've
and what
got,
makes it weird. Yeah.
yeah, we're basically, you've got all these people who are the people you're supposed to kind of, they represent the people that you're supposed to disregard and think very little of. And what it's saying is, look, man, those people hold up the world.
Yeah.
They absolutely hold up the world. So do not,
Value them.
so value them, because they just do this.
Yeah.
It's a weird, 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 weird world.
Yeah. And what's
And
fun about that is like you have this cool like beating heart of like what's driving the spirit of the story, and then you get to put all this weird crap on top. Not crap,
yeah.
but
But all the
I
weird
call it crap.
accoutrements on
Yeah,
top of it.
accoutrement.
Because like there are some things you realize you never see
Right.
in stories. My favorite is this. Why is the girl with the big boobs never the hero?
Yeah. It's like it's like they want to show her because she's hot, but they also want to punish her for being hot.
Being hot.
Like,
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
fair? There's a very famous like writing on art. It was like you wanted to sculpt a naked woman because you wanted to look at her beauty, and then you put a mirror in her hand so you can judge her and call her vanity. And it's like, what? You want to look at someone gorgeous, and then you want to be mad at them for So it's like let her be the hero.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with it? And it's one of those like things where because big boobs are so like associated with sexuality.
Yes. salaciousness.
Salaciousness. Yeah. The problem is that people get stuck on it.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask Thor to make, concessions
Yeah.
on his physique to be a hero.
No. You don't like, can you be a little more, you're making everyone uncomfortable. Can you be more slight and a little more slender?
Yeah, that wouldn't work. They're like, that's not Thor.
Not Thor. Who's this guy?
Hi, yeah, like you want him to be like, you want him to be what he is.
Yeah.
Is he he's a kind of sexy power fantasy, and that's but at the same time, he's kind of stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes him endearing because
I love that himbo god.
Yeah. He's not always the brightest guy.
What is this plan? Like he got up to do a lot of shenanigans. I like that about the Marvel character there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing is I'm like, I've seen Stripperella, but here's the thing, like she's kind of a parody of superhero things. I'm talking about like doing it like seriously. For real. Yeah, seriously. For real. Yeah. It's like, oh no, she's a hero. Like basically, why my only problem with Power Girl is often she's written like shit.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of funny. People are like, oh, she has big tits, and I'm like, that's not a problem.
That's not the problem. The problem with Power Girl,
convoluted ass backstory and her frequently shoddy writing is the problem. She's great. She's fun. My favorite is when people draw her like a bruiser with a big stacked chest, and that stacked chest even gives her almost a Superman-esque silhouette because she's so strong. It gives her like almost a pigeony feeling. And I always thought that was really
because she's got they give her like these nice like trapezius muscles.
And she looks strong, and it's like, oh yeah, you would be strong to hold up those titties. And I always thought she looked like believable big, like if that makes sense.
It's fun.
Fun. What's wrong with fun?
Yeah, what's wrong with fun?
So like, I'm a big weeb. I love anime, and but the thing is with a lot of anime is there's still a lot of sexism, and like one of the main things is you'll notice like lead girls, especially in shonen shows, tend to be very virginal, and like the only characters that are more sexual are either villains or almost gag characters, and but not usually the hero. But in the past couple of years, I've noticed some of the more shows that I've liked, like there's this really cute one, you actually would love it, called My Dress Up Darling. Give me a second. So it's about a guy who makes traditional Japanese Hina dolls, or he wants to. He's in high school, and he knows how to sew, but he was like embarrassed about it because like when he was a kid, some people found out and they made fun of him, and he's like, oh, I just won't talk about it ever again. And he's becoming more and more introverted to the point where he just assumes everybody else is going to hate him before he even bothers trying to say anything. So he's essentially self-isolating in this very believable way. And he's very likable, and you're like, stop, don't, you see this guy going down this lonely path, and it's written really well. His name's Gojo, and there's this hot big-titted girl at school who's super popular, and her name's Marin, and she's blonde, and she's really sexy, and she's fun, and she always goes to parties. She's a part-time model, and she finds out Gojo sews. She finds one of his dolls, and he's like, she's gonna tell the whole school my fucking life is over. And she's like, you can sew? Can you make cosplay? And he's like, sure. And she's like, all I want to do is cosplay. And he makes her this costume. And she wears it. And she's like, I'm finally dressed as my favorite hentai character. And he's like, what? And it turns out all of her favorite anime games, shows, everything is all hentai. And she's super like into sex and like sexuality. And he's the virginal one. And she's never played as like gross for this, and it was really charming. It was like she felt like teenage girls I know. You know what I mean? When I was fun, I wanted those sexy shows. I wasn't allowed, but I was really curious about them, and like she felt so real in a way that I was like, I really started liking her, and you would really like it. That's the first episode. So, but she's like this sexual character that's not being villainized for who she is, and she's very voluptuous and sexy, and there's a lot of fan service, but she's so likable, and it's just so fun to see a show where this character is not being villainized. In fact, there's a point where she's at home alone with the guy. They're only friends in the first season, and
Right.
the guy's grandpa comes home, and she's very pretty, and he's like, "Were you guys doing anything inappropriate?" And Gojo's like, "No, we were just studying and making clothes." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then she leaves, she goes home and she goes, "Would that have been so bad?" And I was like, "Oh my god, an anime character just said, would it have been so bad if I had sex?" And I was like,
I know. It's been a long ass time.
it was shocking to me. And I was
Yeah.
trying to explain why it was shocking to someone. They're like, "I don't get it." I was like, she's not being judged by the narrative for having desire. That's amazing.
Yeah.
There's another show, the furries love it. It's called Beastars, and the main girl is a rabbit girl.
I've seen images of that one. I haven't watched it, but
she's great. She's so well written, and she's literally the school slut. Like, she has sex with a bunch of people, and she's really unpopular because she keeps sleeping with people's boyfriends. But she's also an incredibly likable character. And the narrative, like, there's a couple times where a character like tries to shame her, like, "You shouldn't sleep around so much," and she's like, "They pick to sleep with me. They don't have to do anything." And he was like, "Oh, I guess so." And she's like, "Don't judge me." And I was like, "Oh my god, this character's standing up for herself." And I'm not saying that what she was doing was right or wrong. I'm just saying, like, it was amazing to see a character have any amount of sexuality and not be like,
well, it's yeah. It's like, but in particular, a girl, a female
in
character.
particular a girl. Like,
You know,
in general, sexuality is quite punished, but especially for girls, because we can get pregnant and they get all mad.
yeah. People get
Everybody
all
gets
weird
all mad
about it.
It was really funny because I was borderline disowned by my family for a while because I had sex. And
Wait, whoa, go back. Say that whole sentence again.
I was kind of disowned for a while by my Christian family because I got my fiance, who's now my husband, and they didn't like it, and
wow, okay.
they basically like turned all my siblings against me for like a couple of years. That was kind of rough. And one of them like came to me fairly recently, and they were like, "I'm so sorry that we judged you. Mom and dad just said all this stuff." And they said, "Why do people care so much if we fuck?" And like, I was like, "It's true. You're a girl. It's like, why? Everyone wants to do it with us, and then gets mad when we do. What are we supposed to do?" Like,
yeah. Because you're not supposed to be playing.
yeah.
You're not supposed to be playing the game. You're supposed to be the currency.
Yeah, and it's like, if you, it's hard. I don't know.
Sorry, I hope that wasn't too depressing a thing for me to say.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
But and things are a lot better now. But like, that was a rough time in my life, and like, it was all just because I had sex, and it's like, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, that's what's rough. It's like, that's what's so painful with like all these people trying to control our bodies and stuff. It's like,
yeah,
don't do anything wrong. We're being aggressively punished for just having our own bodies. Like,
yeah,
and a dog has a right to its own body. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you belong to yourself. That's one of the few genuinely good things about life, is the ability to control your own actions. So it's like, it wears you down, even when the person doesn't have direct authority over you. And sometimes it turns out they do, and they take away your rights. It's like, it just wears you down, knowing how many people just are like, "Get them." You're like, we didn't do nothing.
Yeah. It all has something to do. It all has something to do with that desire to control the future, control the society, control the culture. That's what it's all about, because you can either, like I said, you got these two options. When you want to influence a culture, you can try to do it through direct control or by letting go.
Yeah.
And letting go is scary for people because they think that everything is so fragile.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not. a lot of these things are not that fragile.
Yeah.
Life in and of itself is actually incredibly adaptable and
Yeah.
incredibly robust. You
Have you
know,
noticed how many people are afraid of their own head? Like,
oh yeah, oh yeah,
like even like you said, that your word you're evil, and like, if you've seen the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, there's a part where the dad character essentially says like, all day long I don't know what the heck is going on, but it seems like everything's really bad and I feel like it's all my fault. And I was like, oh my god, I really relate to this character.
yeah,
And it's like, but sometimes, especially with me, I have a problem with intrusive thoughts. um I was so afraid that I had an evil brain and it was thinking these nasty thoughts. And then one day, I actually read a comic, and the comic was like, imagine all these horrible things. Do the worst thing ever in your mind. Okay, are you done? Nothing happened. And I was like, I don't have to be afraid of my bad thoughts because they're just thoughts. And every time I
yeah,
was flinching away from a bad thought, I was actually giving it all this power over me, because every time I was afraid and trying not to think it, it was my whole being.
yeah,
And
yep,
it's that too. I think with letting go in general and not trying to control people all the time. It's like the more you clench, the less you're having it, and it's like, I don't know. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
yeah. No, 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 no. It's the old, it's the old conundrum. Like, oh, so often one rushes towards his fate in an effort to avoid it. Like things like that. It's like, well, if it's gonna happen anyway, you might as well just not worry about it.
Yeah.
Like
That's what my friend
the
June.
difference between reacting and responding.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, so like I was saying before with my friend June, and she is like, don't build your art with resentment, build it with passion. And but yeah, I was like, one of the things that tripped me up, where I was like, oh, I don't know what to do, is I had written this tweet about like dark, dark, dark romance, and a bunch of people were like sending me messages that I was glorifying abuse, and I was like, well, I guess I can't tell the kind of story I want to tell. And then I was like, yes, I can. Just because
Yeah,
they're afraid of imagination doesn't mean I have to be afraid of my imagination. I'm not killing anyone. No one's getting ripped to pieces. No one's getting disemboweled. The
yeah, yeah,
imagination,
yeah. You're just trying to blow someone's mind.
right? Like, here was the tweet that got me like in a mild amount of trouble. I said, horror romance, like, what if someone loved you not in spite of your worst qualities, but because of them, encouraging you to become worse and worse, more and more cruel, more beautiful. And then I wrote a little Alan Watts quote under it, which was, so actually, therefore, in the course of wisdom, what is really sensible is to let go, is to commit oneself, to give up oneself, and that is quite mad. So we come to the strange conclusion that in madness lies sanity. And a bunch of people were like, so
Yeah.
you want to be mean and torture your husband or whatever? And I was like,
No,
no.
no.
And also, art is the safe space to explore
Yes, yes.
everything. Like, I was trying to explain it to somebody. They were like, a lot of people got really hung up with 50 Shades of Grey, and they're like, it's bad S&M, it's bad consent. I was like, the consent is not between the characters. The consent is between you and the book.
Book.
You
Yeah.
open the book and you don't like what you read, you close it, and that's the
Yeah.
consent.
My big
That's
problem. What's my big problem with 50 Shades of Grey? It's a shitty novel.
a shitty novel. It's
It's
a
just
bad
that's it. That's the only problem I have with it.
like, I was
Just,
getting really mad at the height of it because I kept having to defend it. And I was like, I don't like this book. Stop making me defend this book.
yeah. Okay. I better do something about this cat. He is.
Okay.
Well, we know we're gonna do about this. It's gonna. You think it is that
I loved it.
simple? You think you can just leave, Kitty?
What a handsome kitty.
Ah, ah, right. There. That's okay.
Oh. Oh. Had to take the cat away.
Ah.
Ah.
All right. We've dealt with the cat. He is probably still going to try to get in about 10 minutes, but we've done what we can. Yeah, let's see. Catherine says it's kind of strange how we know Jack's place by whatever he films, but have no idea how the rooms are connected.
I like to imagine it's a big donut, and you leave the room and you go round, around, around, around. I don't know why.
Yeah. But yeah. Where were we? We're talking about letting go, and it's yeah. Oh. You were talking about 50 Shades of Grey, and yeah, you're like, I don't want to defend this book because it's bad.
It's bad.
And I don't, but you're acting like it's morally bad. And I'm just telling you, it's just bad.
Literature. You're allowed to read it, and it's badly written.
Yeah, it just, it just sucks.
Like even other like feminists were being like, you can't read these books. It's a bad praxis, and it'll make you a bad sex haver, and like if you read this book, it'll corrupt you. And I was like, dude, we did this in the year 1900. If you read sex books, it'll make you a whore. We all did it, and it didn't happen. That's not how books work. You, I was just like, I seriously was like to other adults. I was like, can't you trust other adult women to be able to read pornography and know it's porn? Like, do you go to men and be like, don't go into women's houses with sausage pizza and exchange pizza for sex? That's morally wrong and dumb. Like, no, you just
because it never happens.
It's not true.
Because it doesn't happen.
It's just a scenario where they can fuck. Like, the BDSM shit is just it's fake. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, the other thing is, like, it still happens. People will be like, oh, they read some bad fan fiction that has bad things in it, and I'm like, there's no people, it's letters. Like, I don't care. Like,
yeah, it's like, well, it's weird because like we all have a limit We all have
Yeah,
a personal limit, and there's definitely some things where I read it and I'm like, all
yeah,
right, I actually am like kind of worried about the person who wrote this, but
yes,
like
sure.
I'm gonna put it down and walk away because I don't want to deal with that.
Here's the other thing too. A lot of times people who make fucked up porn or whatever, like I'm not talking with real people, I'm drawings, like blech, gross stuff that I'm like, I don't like this. This is not for me. I'm they turn out not to do shit most of the time. My favorite manga, one of my favorite anime series was Rurouni Kenshin, and it was about a pure-hearted samurai. There's nothing in the show that is bad for like nothing like that. He turned
Right.
out to be a huge pedophile. He was arrested for all this stuff. I can't watch the show ever again. It's
The guy
ruined.
the guy who made Rurouni Kenshin was a
I don't make
pedophile.
feelings. Huge pedophile.
Wow! I didn't know that.
He got arrested a couple years ago, like 2 years ago, and I was like,
Oh my god.
and I was like, what? But that really shows you, like, you think this guy's doing, pure shonen, PG, no sexuality, and then it turns out he's a total nasty freak. So it's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna judge people drawing tentacle porn. They're probably nice.
Well, like, how to put it, like, someone. Oh, God, I forget what the whole context was. We were talking about, like, I can't remember what hentai manga it was, but it was like, it was a pretty used to be well known. It was like allegedly overfiend levels.
Okay, yeah.
Of, like, and someone was like, that like, isn't this stuff kind of disturbing? And I'm like, yeah, aren't you worried that, like, this guy is someone like who does that is gonna like this is gonna diddle kids. And I just open it up and I'm like, look, man, I'm gonna be real honest. I'm looking at the way this guy draws women, and I'm just gonna tell you, I don't think lolly is a thing for this person.
Yeah.
There's just no. Like, one of the things I thought was so, a person who despises lolly, just despises it, is Go Nagai.
Oh, really?
The guy who made Devilman. Yeah, he hates it.
I'm sorry. He made Violence Jack.
Yeah, he made Violence Jack. He hates lolly.
If chat doesn't know, there's Devilman, and then there's a sequel to Devilman where there's people with like chopped off arms and legs used as sex slaves and like.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like fuck exploded. So Go Nagai be like, I fucking hate this shit. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah. He hates lolly because he thinks that it's that it's masking something pedophilic, and he doesn't like that. And everyone's like, you're the manga porn guy. You're the dude. And he's like, yeah, and I don't want that stuff done with children.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm like, I don't want to see that. But but I'm pretty down for a lot of other stuff that Go Nagai does. And I'm sure a lot of people be like, you shouldn't read that. You should never read that. And I'm like, part of the reason I like reading it is because it's upsetting, which is dumb, but it's like you're getting a dosage of upsetting that you get to turn off when you're done with it.
I like there's that great monster chick that he does. I think her name actually is Lilith, where her boobs are like these smiley face monsters.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. I was really into that. I was like, that's pretty cool.
There's so much great, bizarre manga that anytime I'm like my one friend, she's reading me her really good sci-fi story, and she's like, I'm worried this part's too weird. I'm like, if anything, go weird.
Yeah, go weirder.
Go beyond a face.
Yeah, lolly is the reason Hayao Miyazaki said anime is a mistake. Well, like, yeah, it's something. It's weird. It's weird because, like, at some point there was this switch.
Yeah.
There was this flip where Lolly became the predominant thing in anime. That is
It's
not how it started at
I,
all.
that dude, I don't like it. Like I liked it when everybody looked kind of like 30 years old and like
Yeah, yeah, like everyone looked like they're like their mid late 20s, you
yeah, I
know.
was like that was my favorite era of anime. And like even now they'll be like this character's 40. I'm like she looks 13 and gooey. Like I'm like you don't no bones, big giant baby forehead. I'm like I don't I like it when adults look adult. I don't I
Yeah.
like even in
Yeah.
real life, like I'm bi or pan. I don't know. I keep looking up the difference between bi and pan. I don't understand. Well, I read both of them, and I'm like, yeah. I don't
I
understand.
I okay. I okay. My feelings on it is basically this. Um in my opinion, Pan is basically bi, but you're uh, acknowledging that trans people exist. It's the
Yeah,
only
but
thing I can
that
think
made
of.
me feel dumb because I was like, all of my bi friends have dated trans and non-binary people,
Mhm.
all of them,
Mhm.
and they say that they're bi, and they're not acknowledging that person's gender. It's just like that was the term for it. So like, I'm like,
Yeah.
so am I actually pan because I'm actually attracted to
Well, it
non-binary people?
basically comes down to it's because bisexual is a dirty word. That's why.
Um,
You
hmm,
know, like that's generally a dirty word. People get really upset about that
yeah.
because bisexual people give you AIDS.
Okay. Yeah, I kept reading the different definitions on different LGBTQ websites, and I was like, I don't understand. I just feel like they
If
both
you're
match.
bisexual, you can't politically be a lesbian because you're not a real lesbian, and you give people AIDS. You give
Yeah,
straight people AIDS.
and we're probably gonna betray you in some capacity.
Hmm. You
Well,
know,
that's what I was saying.
because like some people are really shitty at being in relationships with both genders. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
But oh, that's what I was gonna say. I was saying like even in real life, I'm bisexual, and like the women I'm attracted to, like people are like, do you like her? And they'll like show some beautiful thin bikini model, and I'm like, I'm kind of into like Brienne of Tarth. I'm like I like big butch women. Like even in anime, I'm like, where are the strong people? Like I don't the sea of
So,
dewy waifs are not
yeah.
not
Oh,
my
so you looking forward to that She-Hulk?
yeah. Except she doesn't look. I don't know. It's hard to explain. There's a kind of mask energy I like. So, but
I
yeah.
I was I like where they're going with the show, but I agree that there's something Lady D has that
Mhm.
feels like She-Hulk should also have that she doesn't
Yes.
quite. But
Yeah.
I don't
I
know
feel
what exactly that
it's
is.
only gonna. We haven't even come out yet, so like maybe it'll come together and
Yeah,
maybe
maybe
like.
yeah, that's true. Like we haven't
I
seen it,
love She-Hulk
so
in the comics. She's fun. So like, oh, have you read any of the series, The Immortal Hulk?
yes. Yeah,
Okay,
the Immortal
so
Hulk. Yeah.
I am obsessed with that weird. It's the best weirdest shit Marvel's put out in ages. It's a body horror, cosmic horror Hulk story. Like, what if Hulk is like a fragment of the universe that has to exist? There's a story in like issue 28 that it only takes place in a uh, outer rim of a universe that is about to collapse, and there's two ex-lover aliens who lost their third partner, and they're made of crystals, and they're trying to stop something, and then Hulk just destroys that spaceship, and you never see those characters again. And I was like, what was that? And it was really cool. But She-Hulk's in it, and Hulk 2 is getting bigger and bigger because whatever is like causing the Hulkness. Like they
Hmm.
thought it was gamma radiation, but it turns out gamma radiation comes from this specific dimension. And that is like
Oh.
it you have to read it. It gets so heady. But She-Hulk in that is a literal monster, and she's really cool. And I couldn't believe they were drawing her so huge. I was like, I've never seen her drawn like that before because I really like her classic like 80s look when she's really kind of cute and like kind of curvy, huge hair.
Yeah.
But it was fun seeing her as a big fucked up monster woman, because you just don't see that much. And it was a thrill. I have to catch up on that because I haven't
Marvel
read the
Comics announces Immortal She-Hulk spinoff. Oh.
I'm excited. That emotion reaction was so genuine. I was like, ah. But dude, that series is so good. Like, it's just I almost feel like whoever's in charge of that series is just like, Marvel, heads up, don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me, because like they're doing stuff that the MCU would just never. Like, there's a guy who got hit with Hulk radiation, and instead of becoming like a decent Hulk where he's like one solid dude, he bent in half, and he's always half dying, and he's fighting the Hulk, and half of his body's like, please kill me, I hate this. And he's so strong, Hulk is having a hard time doing it. And I was like, it was dark, and it's so good. And I'm just like, it reminded me why I like superhero comics at all, because I was like, because you could get freaky with it, get weird. That's all I want. It's getting late for me. I should go to bed. I'm getting all tired. I'm sorry. I just
no, it's okay. It's okay. You know, there's something. Yeah, there's it's an archetype that for some reason anime doesn't get into practically at all.
Yeah, it's pretty rare. There's
which is the strong woman.
Yeah, there's a couple famous ones. Was it like Sister Sarah? There was like the Otomo guy, the guy who did Akira, did another like post-apocalyptic story of just this giant slab of a woman, and she's really cool. But Otomo does such a good job. He's really good at drawing like huge, larger than life figures. But
is it the Legend of Mother Sarah?
I think that's it. Let me see it. Like, I'm gonna be mad if she's not big like I remembered.
She doesn't look like that big.
Not. No, okay. This is because it's an earlier, so she doesn't get as massive. But like, for a female, and I'm just sending you a picture for a nope, I can't. I guess copy image address, maybe. There we go. Does that do anything? But but you start to see her. She has a very she's not at she starts getting big though. All right, I found some. All right, but as the series went on, she started getting like mythically tall and like stacked. But
yeah, she's starting to look like a dude from Fist of the North Star.
Yeah. Like when she first shows up, she looks a lot more Sarah Connor-y. And then as it goes
on, in the beginning she looks like Sarah Connor, and now she's started to get like the dude from Fist.
Kind of like this god-like figure. Like,
Doro Hedoro. That was the girl from that. That's another great example of like the strong girl, the blonde in that one. You know, who just for some reason is just that character is so odd, because it's sort of like, what if Power Girl and Harley Quinn were the same character, you know? Like,
oh yeah.
And you just sort of like, huh, you know, like I guess she's like a bimbo Amazon, you know.
Dude, I came up with a whole different take on Wonder Woman. I really want to draw her, but she's like built like a brick shit house, and she comes to our world from Amazon Island, and she gets a huge crush both on Batman and Harley Quinn. And I like the way I was writing her. I was having so much fun. I'll have to show you sometime soon. But anyway, I gotta go to sleep. But like I'm like leaning in to her like naivete, but I'm also making her like really big, so like to emphasize her fish out of waterness. Like she doesn't like fit into chairs very easily, and like and yeah, I'm having fun with it. But anyway, I need to go to sleep.
Okay, I'll let you go. I think I might actually. Yeah, this is probably going to be. Yeah, I'll let this be a short one, because in about 3.5 hours, I'm going to be watching I'm going to be watching Stranger Things season 4, part 2.
Yes.
You know.
I have not caught up recently, but I know that they have their own Monster Man now, so I'm very excited for that.
so far it's really good. Like so far, season 4 has been the best one.
My favorite thing is just that everyone's playing Kate Bush. I'm very happy when I turn on the radio and they're playing that song. I'm like, yeah, if only could make a deal with God.
Yeah, Kate Bush. Yeah, I was like, oh hey, like Kate Bush got popular. You
She
know,
was doing an interview. She was like, it's really nice to be on the charts again.
and yeah,
That must be fun. I think that when you're like mostly semi-retired, your whatever song just appears on the charts again. That must be fun.
yeah. I imagine it probably is.
There
I
was a video of a bunch of teenagers in like New York, and it was like their cheer team dancing to Fleetwood Mac. And somebody was like, why do all these Gen Z kids love Fleetwood Mac? And one of them responded, Fleetwood Mac fucking slaps. And I was like, yeah, Fleetwood Mac fucking slaps.
Yeah, yeah. Also, it was a Guardians of the Galaxy too.
Yeah.
You know. Well, like there's the song I'm really hoping will show up in Stranger Things is Kate Bush's Experiment Number 4.
Ooh,
Because Experiment Number 4 could very, very, very easily be Eleven's theme song.
Ooh,
Because
yes.
the song is literally it starts out, they tried to make a sound that could kill, kill from a
yeah,
distance.
I'm looking at the lyrics. It really could fit. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, if you don't use that at some point in the context of 11, I feel like that's a missed opportunity.
For sure. All right, dude, I'm
Yeah.
super tired.
All right, I'll let you go. I want to thank you for coming and talking with me. It was really great.
Fun. I'm in a better mood now. Thank
Oh,
you.
good. Excellent. I'm glad that you were happier leaving than when you came in. That's how all things should be. So until next time.
Hi, chat, and thank you.
Yeah. Ave Satanas, Disco Inferno. Yeah. Right. And remember, Satan and I love you all very much. And
the goddess behind the moon, she also loves you. She really wanted me to let everyone know when I was on that show.